December 1914, and on the North Sea at least, World War I was off to a slow start. The powerful German High Seas Fleet, confident that they could deliver a quick and fatal blow to the Royal Navy, had encountered a slight problem. Fearful that the Germans' confidence of a quick and decisive victory might not be so misplaced, the British Admiralty had ordered the fleet to be secured in the protected harbour of Scapa Flow. The German response was simple: to cause such an outrage amongst the British public that to avoid damaging civilian morale, the First Lord of the British Admiralty, Winston Churchill, would have no choice but to send the fleet out to exact revenge at sea. To this end, it was decided to bombard civilian targets on the northeast coast of England, namely Whitby, Scarborough and Hartlepool. And so at 8 a.m. on the 16th of December, three ominous shapes emerged from the grey mists off the coast of Hartlepool headland. At first mistaken for British ships, they were in fact the devastating German battlecruisers Seydlitz and Moltke, and the older, less capable armoured cruiser, the Blucher. Gliding into position opposite the defensive Yoff battery, on the order of Task Force Commander Admiral Hipper, the heavy German guns began to spit fire and destruction. The German gunners were good. Their very first shot, intended simply to find the range of the target, actually struck Yoff battery dead on, killing a young sentry from the Durham Light Infantry who were garrisoned nearby. This plaque marks the spot where Private Theophilus Jones fell dead, the first soldier to die in action on British soil since the English Civil War some 2 centuries before. It proved to be no fluke shot either, as the second shell fell directly on top of the first, killing 2 medics who had run out to check on Private Jones. Sadly, they were only the first of many casualties claimed by the engagement. The gunners of the Yoff battery quickly responded in kind, and even though heavily outgunned, caused such damage to the German attackers that the scheduled hour-long bombardment was cut short by a full 20 minutes. At the same time, the nearby garrison of the DLI deployed along Spy Cop to the north of the Yoff, in order to repulse any attempt the Germans may have made to land troops on the broad North Sands beneath. During the engagement, the German vessels managed to fire off 1,150 shells. Although aimed at the batteries, many actually exploded within the town itself. The morning mist had forced the ships close to the shore, causing their shells to bounce off the concrete apron before they could arm, only to be fully ready to detonate once they came back down in the populated areas beyond. The damage to Hartlepool was extensive and the cost in lives high. Over 100 died in the raid and scores more were injured. Some of the relics of this devastation are displayed in the Museum of Hartlepool, alongside a broader recounting of the story. After the war, a monument was erected, Winged Victory, on the location of the first civilian casualty. Escaping into the mists, the German task force had indeed achieved its primary goal. The British public was infuriated, and the Admiralty had no choice but to dispatch the Royal Navy to seek retribution. However, contrary to the other part of the German plan, it was the Royal Navy who actually had the last laugh. In the famous battles that followed at Doggerbank and Jutland, they inflicted severe damage on the German High Seas Fleet, reducing their effectiveness for the remainder of the war. For a grieving Hartlepool, however, it was a cold consolation.